What's going on? Welcome back to Normal Baseball. Today, we're going to be going over the Texas Rangers, and in 2022, the Texas Rangers will be. What's going on? Welcome back to Normal Baseball. I'm Normal Dog, Alex, that's Lewis. And today we got another episode of the, what are we going to call the Will Bees for the 2022 MLB season. Today we got the Texas Rangers. I know my outfit doesn't quite match them, but deal with it. It's what I was wearing. This is what I wore just throughout the entire day. Yes, the glasses included.
No changes.
No. So yeah, we actually finally have a team that actually changed a bit, and it is projected to not be terrible next year.
A bit is a
which is
a small way.
Yeah. So we could start. I'll go over what they added since we were just talking about it. I mean, Corey Seeger, 10 years, $325 million. Marcus Simeon, 7 years, $175 million. John Gray, 4 years, $56 million. Martin Perez, 1 year, $4 million. Brad Miller, 2 years, $10 million. And Garrett Richards, 1 year, $4.5 million with a club option for 2023. And Mitch Garver from the trade with the Minnesota Twins. So, I mean, we can start with that trade from the Minnesota Twins. I know there's... You know what? No, we'll start with Corey Seager. I mean, this happened before lockout, and wow.
Yeah, I mean, huge amount of money, $325 million committing to a shortstop. I mean, let's be real, Corey Seager is one of the only guys in baseball that deserves a contract like this. I mean, he's a World Series champion, he's a World Series MVP, lefty bat who can really do just about anything that you need him to do. Very, very big signing from the Rangers that will hopefully bolster their future.
Yeah, I mean, he played 95 games last year and he batted like 300. They signed him for 10 years. They're locking him up. So even if this year they know they might not be the top one seed, but they know in the future they are building their team and they plan on being good in the future, which is why they got him for 10 years. And I mean, who can blame him? He was one of the best free agents out on the market. They got two of the best.
Yeah, they also added Marcus Simeon, like you said, for 7 years, 175. That might be I think it's the highest paid middle infield. Now it might also be the
100%.
Best middle infield.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the best middle infields. I mean, Simeon's a guy who could play every single game of the season, as he did last year. And again,
45 bombs.
45 home runs last year, the most by a second baseman ever in a season. Which you know what? We'll just bring that into our first over-under. For Simeon, over-under 39.5 home runs.
39.5 is a very good number.
Because is he going to hit the 40 mark again, or is he not?
I'll let you go first.
I'm gonna go with over because they're playing in Texas and the ball flies, and I'm gonna go with over. I think it's a good place to hit home runs.
Okay, I'm gonna go with the under.
Okay.
Because they are going to be in a division with the Astros, with the Mariners, and they're going to have to play the entire NL West. So the Dodgers, Padres, and Giants are all on their schedule. I'm gonna shoot under, but I'm gonna say 39.
Okay. So you're on under just by half.
Yeah, like right. If I had to put an exact number on it before I heard the line, I would have said 40.
Yeah, because that would be over.
Yeah, but I'm gonna take the under just because you're gonna take the over.
Okay, I respect it. But anyway, even with Seeger, we saw him in the 2020 World Series. They played it in Arlington because of the COVID, and he mashed. They won that World Series for a reason. He was one of the big reasons that they actually won. They played most of their playoffs there. The Dodgers did. Oh, there goes the shark.
Oh no.
But yeah, so I'm excited to see Seager kind of mash there. He's gonna do great. I mean, he played 95 games this year, like I said, and he had a 3.7 WAR, which is pretty good. He played like
Impressive.
2/3 of the season, and still had a WAR that was up there. And then, what?
Well, I was just gonna add on that both Corey Seeger and Marcus Simeon, I personally have a feeling that they're gonna bat 1 and 2. So even if you think that you dodge a bullet with Corey Seager only hitting a double or a single or drawing a walk, you still have to deal with Marcus Simeon. I mean, luckily they're both locked up for a long time because honestly the Rangers have just that upward trajectory right now, and I don't think that there's any stopping them.
Exactly. It's and they're gonna make more additions in the next coming years. I mean, they've shown that they're not scared to spend money if that's what it takes to get some players there. So
Yeah.
I mean, they gotta do what they gotta do. Do you think Simeon and Seeger combine for over a 12 WAR? So like
Combined for over 12 WAR? Yeah, if
so
they both
each
stay
player
healthy
would have
for
more
a
than
full year,
6.
yeah.
That's the thing. If they both stay healthy the entire year and they have good seasons, neither of them can really have a down year. Do you think they'll
I
both
think-
have like years like last year and the year before?
Yeah, in my head, I want to say yes, just because Corey Seager and Marcus Simeon, like we mentioned, probably the greatest up the middle infield. If they both manage to stay healthy, I mean, we just saw Marcus Simeon play a full season when healthy, 45 home runs. I mean, the guy did it all. And Corey Seager, we've seen all the flashes of him. Obviously, we got really gypped out of a full 162 because of other issues during the pandemic, and we only got to see 60 games of him and then the playoffs. But if he really rehabbed his injuries right and he's going to come back better than ever, sign me up. I'll be a Rangers fan for that.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to seeing it, especially like you said with all the injuries and him coming back. Looking forward for a full season of him. And then on the pitching side, they also made an addition before the lockout. John Gray, 4 years, $56 million. I almost said 156. Definitely not 156.
That would be a pretty crazy contract.
Gray was obviously on the Rockies before. His ERA was high, but some people might blame the Coors effect for that. I'm interested to see how he does. I think I was kind of surprised. He got paid a lot considering he's never really put up good numbers. I mean, all his numbers are a little high. I guess they're just elevating that to because he played at Coors Field.
I would assume so. Obviously the biggest flag in this whole John Gray situation is that the Rockies never gave him a qualifying offer. But it's nice to see that the Rangers noticed that, you can't just win with the bat. You have to win on the pitching aspect, and John Gray is a very, very good start for that.
Yeah, John Gray, and then after the lockout, they got Martin Perez. I mean, here, let me read you their
Perez, my apologies.
Their rotation, then we'll get into their bullpen and their potential starting lineup. So 1 second, sorry. Okay. All right, so their rotation is set up to be John Gray, Martin Perez, Dane Dunning, Taylor Hearn, and AJ Alexi. So you look at the lineup and you're like, that's a good lineup, but then you look at their rotation and you're like, it's nothing special, and especially in a division like the AL West. I get that Correa's not there anymore, but they have some mashers in that division that you got to watch out for.
Astros is still there.
Astros still
Ohtani
there.
and Trout are going to be healthy along with Anthony Rendon.
Walsh.
The Mariners.
Could go on forever, and their main issue is going to be pitching this year. And you could already tell based on their rotation and then their bullpen. The only big names they have really are Greg Holland and Garrett Richards. I like the signing of Garrett Richards and I guess Greg Holland too, but that's not going to be enough to hold up.
I love the Garrett Richards signing. I'm upset that it's only for 1 year, just because I really think that he could be a very big piece of that bullpen if it were for multi-year. But I think the Rangers are looking at this, and the front office, when I say that, of course, they're looking at this as, let's go out, let's field the best offense that we can, and in the next coming free agency and everything, we can show people that, hey, look, we can produce runs. We can get it done on the offensive side. If we bring in good pitching, there's no reason as to why we can't take the extra step or, cross that line into championship contention or even hoisting up, what Rob Manfred calls a piece of metal.
Right, and I think that's part of why they sign Seeger and Simeon and even John Gray to longer deals, because they know that they don't necessarily have the pitching this year, and maybe in the next few years they'll get it, and they'll be one of those unstoppable teams. Like I said, the signings have been good. They just need more to kind of convince me.
Yeah, same here. I mean, if you want to segue that perfectly, what more do you think their signings have added? What do you think their record's going to be this upcoming season?
Well, the over-under is 72.5 wins, and I think I'm going to go with the over. I think they'll have like around 75-ish wins, around there.
Wow. Can you see my screen? I mean, I also am going to take the over. I have them going 75 and 87.
Yeah, I don't have the exact record. I just think they're going to be somewhere around there. It just makes sense because 72 is like 0.5 is, even with that pitching staff, I get that it's not great, but that's really bad for a team that has two superstar players and a guy like Adolesce Garcia, all-star rookie of the year. Nick Solak, who would be on the bench, Brad Miller, Cole Calhoun. I mean, they have like names, and if the lineup can make up for the pitching, then they should be fine. Which brings me to my next point. Let me read you the projected lineup. So Willie Calhoun would be their DH. Not great. He only played 75 games last year, but he had a 700 OPS. Not great. Then Marcus Simeon at second. Corey Seager at short. This is Fangraph's projected lineups. Nate Lau at first base, which is good. He played 157 games last year. He was really good. Almost an 800 OPS, a little bit under. 115 WRC plus, pretty good as well. Then we got Mitch Garver, catcher. If he can not get injured this year, he'll be great for them. He was great for the Twins. He only played 68 games because of injuries, but if he can stay healthy, that would be really good. Brad Miller, a guy that they signed a couple days ago, also really good. He did good for the Phillies last year, 140 games, 774 OPS, 20 homers. He's a good all-around player. He's a nice guy to have on your team. Then we got Adolesce Garcia, who might be a little higher in the lineup, but at center field, obviously he was fourth in Rookie of the Year voting last year. He was an all-star. He had 31 home runs, 26 doubles. He should have been higher in that Rookie of the Year. 3.8 WAR. Then we got Cole Calhoun, who they also signed to play right field. He played 51 games last year because of injury, so hopefully he can bounce back from that and maybe do a little better than he did last year. He had a negative WAR. And then at the 9th spot, it seems to be Andy Abbanos, who is a third baseman. He played 76 games last year, and he had a 756 OPS, which is pretty good considering his name wasn't really on my radar. So I guess there's that. 1.8 WAR in 76 games. I mean, they need a third baseman, but that'll certainly do for a year where they're not like saying we're a championship team, you know.
Yeah, I mean, without a doubt, it's nice to see that this is a team that when we were younger, at least you and I, we saw them like they competed. And now like they went through the rebuild properly. And of course, last season, every Rangers fan is probably confused seeing Joey Gallo like get traded for what felt like nothing, and everyone was like, "Oh, well, here we go, back to scraping the bottom of the barrel." But they get their new team, they get their new stadium. Hopefully, they bring in a ton of new fans because this lineup is just going to be fun to watch.
Oh yeah, they're gonna be sold out almost every game.
I feel like they're going to be one of those teams that even on the road, you're going to see a lot of Rangers jerseys in the stands.
I don't know if I agree with on the road. They've never really had that big of a road following, but I think that stadium fits like 100,000 people or whatever. I think it'll be full almost every game.
Oh, I can only
At
imagine the
least
opening
it should
day.
be, unless something goes horribly wrong and they become really bad, then I can't see it being not filled every game.
Yeah, but barring everything goes right, would love to see them really make some noise. Obviously, I don't think that they, like we said earlier, don't think that they can really go compete for everything this year, but just make some noise. Like, rattle up the Astros right before they head into the postseason. Bang up the Angels. Make Shohei Ohtani's pitching look hittable. You know,
Yeah, no, they gotta with the additions they've made, they're definitely gonna up their team stats like as a whole because they need to play better as a team, not just individually. They were 29th in average last year, which is terrible. I mean, they were 30th in on base percentage and OPS. Like in that stadium too. I mean,
hard to
whatever.
do in that stadium.
They couldn't score runs. They weren't hitting homers. Most of their homers were from Joey Gallo, and then they traded him. But the one thing that they did have was steals. They stole a lot of bags. They were fourth in steals throughout the league, which is pretty good. And obviously, we've seen it in spring training already. Stealing and being smart on the base paths has been like really important so far in spring training. So
Yeah, it really
if
has
they
been.
can keep that up, that would be good for them.
I think one thing that we have to also remember is that it's not just these guys are not talking to each other and just going out on the field. Between Marcus Simeon and Corey Cedar, you have Corey Cedar, who's won a World Series and won a World Series MVP, and then you have Marcus Simeon, who's been on those Oakland A's teams, who just was on that Blue Jays team. He really has a fire lit under him, and I think that those two in the center of that clubhouse are really going to push every last player to give it their all. Even if they're not going to try to win everything this season, the better you look, the more players want to come play in Arlington.
I suppose. I mean, my only thing with them was that like those two have never really been like clubhouse like. I'm not
Leaders.
saying they haven't been clubhouse leaders, but on the field they haven't been like team leaders. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I think that
Like
this
they
is their
haven't been the
opportunity to
center of
show
their
that.
team. So yeah, if they can both be that for the Rangers, it would be huge this
Yeah,
year.
without a doubt.
Um, and then speaking of this year, I'm going to talk about their prospects because they got a few prospects that we could see this year, and I'm going to go over their top 3 prospects, which is what we're going to do. We got Jack Leiter, obviously starting pitcher.
Woo! Woo!
His ETA is 2023, but he's the 31st overall prospect in baseball. Do you think over under 0.5 games for Jack Leiter started?
Over.
You think he'll
Hammering the over.
you think he'll start this year?
I think he'll be the opening day starter. No, I don't mean that. I don't mean that. But I definitely do think that he will at least be in the big leagues this year. I mean, you watch his highlights, you watch any game that he pitched in from beginning to end over there in college. I think at Vanderbilt, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the kid just has it. So count me in. I've been on the Jack Leiter fan club since it started. I'm all in on Jack Leiter. I think he's going to do great.
Don't get me wrong, I love Jack Leiter, but I'm gonna go lower just because I just don't think I don't think they're gonna rush him. I don't think they
Not a
want to.
believer.
I don't want to. It's not that I'm not a believer. Don't try to tell me I'm not a believer. I just don't think they should rush him, and I don't think they will, because with talent like that, you don't want to just bring him up and then ruin them. You know what I mean? So
I don't think that he's going to be rushed. I think he's just going to be in the league of his own in AA, AAA, everything. That they're going to have no choice.
No, I don't think so. I disagree.
That's what I think.
I don't think it's gonna be like that.
Well, I'm hammering the over.
All right. Well, I mean, that's like a Bobby Witt Jr. kind of case. He was insane last year in the minor leagues all year. They didn't bring him up because they don't want to rush him.
That ain't the.
And they
that
want
ain't the
that,
Rangers.
and they want that service time as well.
Yeah.
So there's that. Then we got Josh Jung, who was a third baseman and a shortstop. I think we'll see him this year because their third base situation isn't amazing. He's the 57th overall prospect in baseball. Um, I don't see why he wouldn't be up this year. This is his ETA was this year anyway. I think we'll see him this year. I don't know when, but I think we will see him.
Before or after August 1st?
Well, before.
Okay.
If they're gonna do it, they're gonna do it. May.
Yeah,
June.
I hope that they do it early.
May or June. I think.
Fair enough.
If I had to guess. And then we got Ezekiel Duran, whose ETA is 2023.
What position does he play? I don't think I've ever heard that name.
I believe he's an outfielder. You've never heard Ezekiel Duran?
I don't think so.
I've
probably seen his highlights somewhere.
You probably have, because he's been in their system for, it feels like a couple years now, a few years. But he's estimated for next year, 111th overall prospect in baseball. So we'll see how he goes. I don't know if they'll really need him. I mean, if something goes wrong, maybe they will. I don't know, but we'll see.
That's fair.
And yeah, do you think they'll put up a fight with the Astros and the Mariners?
So,
do you think they'll get top 2 in the division?
I'm going to say no. And I think what's going to happen is they're going to come in third by half a game. Like, it's going to be a very neck-and-neck race, because if you really look into that division, I mean, I think everyone is agreeing that the Mariners and the Astros are going to be battling at the top. But I'm still going to give the edge to the Astros because they're proven. And I think that the Angels, if everybody's healthy and everybody has a good year, I mean, there's no reason as to why they can't sneak in to the 2 spot. Not to say that they're better than the Mariners. I just think that no one's going to really be paying attention to them, and then next thing you know, they're going to sweep the Mariners or sweep the Astros and be in second place in the division and never give it up.
I'd love to agree, but I also said no, and I know you said no, but I can't see them sneaking in. I don't think they'll. I don't want to say they won't be close, but I don't think they're. I think it's going to be a little significant. They don't have the pitching to be a top 2 team in that division. The Mariners have pitching. The Astros have pitching. I just don't think the Angels have pitching. Hell, I don't think that they have the stuff to be top 2 in that division at all.
I definitely don't see them being top 2.
I don't even think they could sneak in. I don't think it's going to be half a game. I think it's going to be significant.
There's just going to be a large margin in between the top 1 to 2.
I don't want to say large. I don't want to say large. Maybe like 5, anywhere from 5 to 8 games, 7, 8.
So if I said the games behind was set at 7.5, over or under?
I'd say under.
Fair enough.
But yeah, and you forget about the Angels in that division. Like we know the Astros and Mariners are going to be good. The Angels got some pitching this year.
They have the best player in baseball.
The best player, 2 of the best players in baseball. So they're to watch out for as well.
And they're getting Anthony. I mean, we'll get all into that later.
Let's wait for that episode. But yeah, I think that should do it. Let's end it with, who do you think their team MVP is going to be this year?
I mean, I said it already. Jack Leiter.
Really?
I think I actually said that in my in our predicting every team's future MVP.
Really?
And I'm gonna stick to my guns there. Jack Leiter.
All right. Well, I'm taking the easy bet and going Corey Seeger.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I think he's gonna have a monster year in Texas, just solely based on what we saw in that World Series from him.
That's fair. Looking forward to it without a doubt.
Me as well. I think that just about does it for the Texas Rangers. That's all you really need to know. They're going to be an exciting team this year. Definitely watch their games if they're playing your team. If we got anything wrong and you're a Texas Rangers fan, just know that you probably know more about your team than we do. But yeah.
We're on the outside looking in.
Yeah. I mean, that should do it. You got anything else on the Texas Rangers?
Oh, I think you put the bow on top of the neatly wrapped present perfectly.
All right, perfect. All right. That's been the 2022 Texas Rangers will be. This has been Normal Baseball. And check out the rest of the series coming out every day, 2 a day till opening day. And we'll see you in the next one. Peace.